Hello, welcome to Math Magical. In today's lesson, we're going to look at circle graphs and central angles. Now, I really like that we're introducing central angles in 7th grade math. This is going to really help your understanding as you move into geometry later on in high school. So just remember that what you're learning now is going to be beneficial in your future mathematics adventure. So what is a central angle? A central angle is the measure of the angle that is in the center of a circle. Things to remember before we start, a circle is always 360 degrees. The edge of each central angle represents the radius of the circle. The radius is the distance from the center of the circle out to the edge. And then a circle can have multiple central angle measurements, but they should all add up to 360 degrees. So if we look at this example, there would be 5 different central angle measurements here. Each color would have its own central angle measurement, but if at the end we added up all the central angle measurements together, we would arrive back at that 360 degrees. So how do you find the central angle? First, you want to convert the percent to a decimal and then multiply by 360. So in this example, we're going to look at blue. It says, what is the measure of the central angle of the blue wedge? Well, blue represents 10% of the total circle. We can write that as a decimal as 0.1. 0.1 times 360 equals 36. Remember, anytime we're multiplying by 0.1, we can just shift that decimal point 1 to the left. So the central angle of the blue wedge is 36 degrees. If we look at another example and move on to the red wedge, the red is 15%, so we'd write that as a decimal as 0.15. 0.15 times 360 does equal 54. So the central angle of the red wedge is 54 degrees. Now they might ask you, well, let's look at this other one. So this is green. Green is 25%, 0.25. 0.25 times 360 is 90 degrees. The 90-degree angle is oftentimes called a right angle. So just kind of tuck that away there. The green wedge here does represent a right angle, and 4 90-degree angles would complete a full circle because 25% is 1/4 of the whole. And then you might see a question where they ask something like, how much bigger is the central angle of the orange wedge than the yellow wedge? Well, there are a couple ways to go at this. I like to just figure out what percentage bigger it is. So if we do 30% minus 20%, we know that orange is 10% bigger or 0.1 bigger than yellow. So we do 0.1 times 360 equals 36. So the orange central angle would be 36 degrees larger than the yellow. Now, you could have also found the measure of the orange central angle, the measure of the yellow central angle, and done that minus the other, and you still would have arrived at 36. So I always like to say there's more than one way to get to a location. So in this example, there's more than one way to correctly solve this problem. And if one way works better in your head than the other, that's okay. You want to take the path that makes sense in your head. As long as it's repeatable and it works every time, you're good to go. So discover the secrets, unlock the magic, and let math take you on an adventure. Keep life math magical.